Okay. Sorry. I just finished it like a minute ago. Oh my god. Uh, I'm. I like that adrenaline rush. It wasn't. They didn't make my palms as sweaty as Lord of the Flies, but there's something else. Like it's just because I had to take a pause, like right before the last bits of it, and I just realized that my mouth was like dry. I was clenching my teeth so badly. I was like, it's not exactly like that. This is, I can't even describe it. Oh my god. There are these cops that come, blah blah blah. I still think Annie good. She's still like up until right at the end. I mean, like some of her plans, um, they actually seem really clever. It's impressive. So I had to get props for that. And then you managed to convince her to get him a cigarette and a match because he doesn't have a lighter, I guess. And and he'd stole some lighter fluid earlier. I don't know. And so he finishes his novel. His hands all swollen. And it's like, oh, and she's like, what? You see, it's at the top part says like "Misery's Return" by Paul Sheldon, and then he'd covered it in lighter fluid and he set it on fire. So this woman's trying to save it. She had champagne her and she dropped it. And I guess he wanted to hit her in the head with a typewriter, but he broke her back with it on a heavy typewriter. I don't know. So he got, and then like so this man was on fire, and then what I've noticed is a lot of like raping imagery. But he's like, I'm gonna rape you, and he stuffs the novel. It's like, suck my book, suck my book. It's like, oh, okay, weird. But, there's a couple of even earlier, like the first like 10 pages, there's some sort of rape reference, which I really don't want to know the significance. But Annie sort of reminds me of like an abusive parent, where she like hits somebody and she's like abusive, not even parent. Sorry, that's wrong. Abusive relationship. Where it's like you abuse somebody and then you try so hard to be good and that person usually takes you back because it's like, oh, they're so sweet, they just lost their temper once, which is never just once. So he's stuffing the stuff in her mouth and she like passes out and then he's trying to like crawl towards the door and she's alive, and this is where it gets terrifying because she grabs onto him and then like she loses the grip and then he gets out and then her hands are suddenly underneath the door and it like grabs you and it's, oh my god, it freaks me out. And then he drugs himself in the bathroom with all the extra druggy stuff. And then he falls asleep and he thinks she's still alive. And then like every time when he opens the door finally, like everything he sees, he just thinks he sees Annie, and it's like the way it describes it Stephen King did really well describing like the mental craziness. Okay. He described the mental craziness really well because I was like, oh my god, is this real? Oh, wait, no, he's crazy. But I couldn't, even though I knew that, like every time something came up with Annie, I was like, ooh. It's really interesting. And then the cops come and they look in the room where he's like, oh, the dead body's there. And they're like, there's no body. And then it like flipped out. You find out near the end that I guess after she was still alive, but she crawled out the window and then went to the barn to get a chainsaw. And then she died. So that was weird. The other, the other part is, he writes out this death scenario, like him dying, getting his head chopped off, and he's like, I have to actually find it. I can't do it justice. Ending of Misery was weird. I don't think I'd like that book. Goddess, he thought, and died. And then this next chapter, which is the book four, the last book, which is Goddess, book four, and then right at the chapter four. And it gives you definitions for words: scenario, writer, and make-believe. Yes, of course in this next chapter. Yes, of course he could. The writer's scenario was that Annie was still alive, although he understood that this was only make-believe. So what that shouldn't happen. And it was just, oh god. Oh, what just, oh, I, I'm scared. Like, it terrified me in the moment, and I'm like, oh, as a writer, I really hope I get a fan like that. Oh, that would terrify me. So final thoughts. this book actually really wasn't, like, for the Lord of the Flies, I really didn't get wholly into it till about halfway through, and then into the last act is when I really got into it. This one had me hooked from start to finish, which was really weird. I don't normally get hooked in that quickly. Even Game of Thrones, I'd still read the first 100 pages, stop, and then come back to it before I actually liked it. And now I'm obsessed with Game of Thrones, and I have to wait another 3 years before the next book comes out. Anyway, this is a really good one. I heard Stephen King likes to reference his other works, so I might actually go look those up to see if, like, what he's referencing. I have kind of a few guesses. There's a couple characters, and I just sort of guess. I actually like to do that too. I'll have the same names, and I'll be like, hee hee. One of my novels actually just has the same names of characters, and I just used, like, the same, like, relations, but it had been the characters I used were, like, a private novel by me, so nobody knew it was coming, and I did. And every time I'm like, hee hee, this is so clever. This is me. I really related to character as a writer. I see how he was, like, scared to, like, write something even though it's exciting, and then he started writing something, writing a new book at the end. Doesn't seem like a very good writer, though, so I probably wouldn't read his books. That's a really bad thing, because it's Stephen King. So this book really hooked me in. I really liked it. I definitely want to read more Stephen King. I'm kind of realizing that he's good. I mean, if he could hook me that way in 300 pages, I kind of interested to see that It book over 1,000 pages, which I've read very few 1,000-page novels. I think like one or two, mostly Game of Thrones. I don't have a problem. Yeah, I rarely read 1,000-page books, but I think I might with him. But my next choice is going to be Live by Night by Dennis Lehane, most likely. Yeah, might as well. I read The God's Secret Angels after. Depending how quickly I can get the books done, maybe I can start another book. Probably, if I work really hard, I could probably start it before March 21st. Maybe. But, 7 minutes, boy. But yeah, I mean, I really liked Misery. I thought it was really terrifying, and I can see why they'd have you read this in English class, because it's terrible. Like, he writes the insanity so well, because, like, there's just one paragraph where he literally just goes off and starts using song lyrics, like, girl, he's like, this is a bunch of random 80s song lyrics in, like, his panic paragraph, and that's probably something I would be like, hey, girls just wanna, it was like, girls just wanna have fun, you better not cry, you better not pout, and he's gonna get you with an axe, and I'm like, what? It's really well from the crazy person perspective, and I really like it. So I definitely, I just love it. I keep looking at the books over here. So, this is my book, Misery, by Stephen King. I still love his creepy pedo stash. Alright, and that will be this is my book video log, my blog, blog, bevlog, ugh, can't talk. Alright, well then, I